I sometimes, even after Mentzer, found myself moving back to a little higher volume level of training. Like I said, well, maybe squeeze in this and that and that and that. You know, maybe I just, especially when the show came around, because now it's a contest, and now I'm thinking, what if I do this and this and these movements because they're gonna shape and do whatever, make me appear differently. You know what I mean? It was like I had this sort of anxiety. Am I hitting everything? Am I doing it? You know what I mean?
Trust me, as a competitive bodybuilder, I might be able to dig into your head and you might identify with this, but
right.
You've got a day set that you got to show up at your absolute best. So you were coming up with all kinds of ways in your head that you might be able to improve that outcome on the back end.
Right.
And
adding
you're looking
to
at that four down. It's like, man, well, what if I added this in? Maybe I could get that glute ham tie in a little bit better.
Right.
And if I added extra volume for the arms, they might be a little fuller.
Right.
Maybe if
I didn't feel like it was enough. And the only reason why I didn't feel like it was enough, because I didn't train intense enough on my own. That's why.
Okay.
I can see that.
So if I had Mentzer breathing down my neck with his speech, and he didn't scream at me in a sense, but he said things to me that were extremely uplifting. He might have said some dumb things too, like, there's 10 girls in front of you with their tits out or some shit like that. He would say shit like that just to throw me off, And I'm like, what the fuck? He's talking about girls now. I'm like, well, you get your testosterone up. I don't know what it is, but he would say things that are extremely uplifting, and they would dig deep down into my,
your being.
Yeah, and he knew how to access that level, and nobody else was able to do that. And well, I didn't train with a whole lot of people in my life. Honestly, I had some training partners, but I always ended up being the one pulling them. I was never being pulled by someone else.
We were saying this on the on last week's episode. We were going over a Mike Israetel video where he was talking about Mike Mentzer's top 10 quotes, the good and the bad with them. And there was a certain part in the video where he's talking, and we came to the realization watching this and watching the whole thing that, of course he can't identify with this aspect because he's not of that kind of transcendent mind. The mind that Mentzer possessed to go through and to figure this stuff out and to teach this and to make it about the basis of it is philosophy and logical thinking before it gets to this other point. Well, that's a transcendent person. That's a person whose mind it's trying to attain something greater than itself further away that it can't even reach. And I really feel like so much of what Mike said and taught, and even some of the things he says in the training video, in the HIT training video to you, it appeals to that thing that's inside of certain people. And it's like a fire that just...
Right. And he was able to access that.
What we're looking for here is the precise, the least amount of exercise required.